We're here outside the Bar Council of Ireland and we're making this video in relation to Simeon Burke, who believes that he's been blocked from practicing in the Irish courts, from becoming a member of the Law Library. Simeon Burke, my brother, is highly qualified. He's a graduate of Cambridge University and he was called first to the Bar of Ireland last year, demonstrating his academic ability. For the last 2 years, he's been seeking to secure a master to pupil with here at the Law Library, and he has been unsuccessful. Now, the Bar Council themselves have made submissions to the LSRA, the Legal Services Regulatory Authority, and they have said to that government body that, quote, every pupil is assured of a master.
They're assured.
Exactly.
They're given that assurance, because otherwise it would be absolutely absurd that a young person could take that path, study law, do their Masters, King's Inn, 5-6 years, and at the end not be sure. It would be absolutely absurd.
Simeon attended a pre-admission meeting in July this year, as all prospective pupils do, and the panel at that meeting was two practicing barristers, one by the name of Femi Daniyan, and the second, I believe, Wafa Memon.
Now, we're not sure. We hope we're getting the pronunciation right there. First of all, it was
Femi Daniyan.
Femi Daniyan and
Wafa Memon.
Wafa Memon, yes.
And Wafa was called to the bar in 2021, so just a couple of years ago. And it should be said also that Femi Daniyan is the current chair of the Equality and Resilience Committee here at the Bar Council, and his role is to ensure that there is no prejudice, bias or discrimination experienced by any members of the Law Library.
So Simeon was very, very disappointed after that meeting, because as far as I'm concerned, he was treated with utter contempt by these people and the Bar of Ireland. He was told absolutely no help, no assistance for him. It's up to yourself, go and find a master, otherwise go home and get a different job. That's in essence what it was. So in other words, maybe leave the country, maybe try some other country, but there's no place for you here, Simeon, in Ireland. You know, you're not getting a master, we're not going to assist you. That's the message he got at that interview with those two people. And it's absolutely disgraceful how Simeon, a graduate of Cambridge University, called first to the bar, highly qualified, a lover of law. You know, Simeon started 5-6 years ago, way back in UIG. He loves law from the start and still does. But that is the contempt with which he has been treated by the Bar Council here of Ireland. And it's for one reason, and Simeon knows that. It's because of his belief. It's because of his religious belief. It's because of his belief around transgender ideology. I have a son, my son Enoch Burke, has been treated contemptuously, I would say, by the courts, by the judges. They have lied. They refused to read the report of Niamh McShane, where she says she's concerned about Enoch Burke's religious belief and how it might impact a young person wishing to transition.
Yes.
The courts are refusing to read this and they are lying. And because of that, my son this evening is languishing in a prison cell in Mountjoy. That's where he is this evening, denied his constitutional rights. Freedom of religion.
People ought to know that in the courts today, judicial staff are wearing LGBT lanyards as they go about their work. So as they go about from courtroom to courtroom, some of them registrars who are sitting in front of people who come into court, they're wearing lanyards that are celebrating.
Tip staff, yes, they're wearing the lanyard, they're elevating, yes.
Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex, whatever else, that ideology is emblazoned on their person as they go about their business in the courts.
When Enoch Burke walks in there, handcuffed because of his religious belief, he's met by the judicial staff with lanyards elevating LGBTQ+. So you're coming in there, you're expecting justice. by people who are elevating every type of perversity above Christian belief. My son has a right to go into Wilson's Hospital School with his head held high and says, yes, I believe in God, I have my religious belief, I will not use the they pronoun to a young person. Sadly, the government, the courts, the judiciary, they're all together in this. They have elevated transgender ideology, LGBTQ+,
yes,
this anti-Christian belief agenda. They have elevated it above Christian belief. And I'm very sad to say here this evening that the church has been silent. Enoch Burke attended a Church of Ireland school in Westmeath. The patron of that school, Pat Story, has betrayed him. He has stood for the ethos of the school. The ethos of the school is as clear as a bell. God made them male and female, end of story. Enoch Burke was commanded by the principal, Niamh McShane, to refer to a young boy as they. Enoch Burke couldn't do that. He will not assist a young person on the road to puberty blockers, surgery, tragedy, maybe even suicide. He will not do that. It's an anti-Christian belief. He doesn't believe in that. He has a right to his Christian belief. Pat Story, the bishop, if you want to call her that, and of course John McDowell, the archbishop, they have betrayed him. They've been silent. They've stood in the shadows. They have nothing to say.
Yes.
And I'm sad to say here this evening, as my son is locked out of the Bar of Ireland because he will not bow down to transgender ideology, I'm sad to say the church has been silent. And it's not just about my two sons. I'm very proud of my two sons. I'd want nothing more for my sons than them to stand with God, to stand with their beliefs.
yes.
That's much more important to us as a family than to have a job in the bar, or to
Yes.
have a job in a school, or to have a job anywhere else. It's much more important to be faithful to the religious convictions. The Constitution of Ireland, 1937, drawn up by men who knew what they were doing. They knew it was important to give God his place in the Constitution, because they knew how government can overreach, how we can become totalitarian, how the government can put the boot upon us. And they knew how important it was to elevate God. And that is the fundamental law of this country. That is the fundamental law, a right to religious belief. My son has a right to walk in there with his head held high and to exalt his God. That's what the Constitution of Ireland gives to him. It's a protection, it's a guarantee that he has a right to practice and profess his Christian belief, his belief in God Almighty. And sadly, the church is silent. The church has not been on this playing field. This saga, 2.5 years, 3 years, my son locked up in a cell.
18 hours
Not
a day.
because he's a sex abuser, not because he's into drugs, not because he's a murderer, because he won't call a boy a girl. It's madness, it's insanity.
Disgrace.
And I'm sad to say
absolute
the
disgrace.
church has been absent. And Pat Story is a betrayer. She reminds me of Judas. He betrayed the Son of Man with a kiss. As my son languishes in a prison cell this evening, this beautiful September evening, Pat Story is a traitor. She is a traitor. John McDowell is a traitor.
Yes.
They should be ashamed of themselves, because she's not a Christian. She's not a bishop. She has her cloak, she has her collar, but she's far from being acceptable in the sight of God. Every single day across our country, every single student from primary to secondary is educated in LGBTQ plus perversion. That is the state of our country now. Perversion. It's not diversity. It's perversion. And they're being taught transgender ideology, that you can become a girl if you're a boy, and the church is silent. It's a sad day for Ireland. It's a disgrace.